What's going on, guys? This is Martyrsbrigade99 coming to you once again with another session of Dark Souls commentary. Alright guys, this is the Rumble of the Jungle Volume 2 Part 2. We have a few more matches to go ahead and end this series. And I think this is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing that this is the last of it. What I'm saying is, this is a good thing that I really like the not Battle of the Builds, I'm sorry. I really like the Rumble in the Jungle series. It's basically a situation whereas someone say, hey dude, let's meet up for some 1v1s. Right? And you know, a lot of times when people kind of give me invites for 1v1s, I cannot do it, you know, because sometimes I may be consumed with, you know, maybe creating builds, maybe I'm consumed with kind of what I'm doing on my own. But every now and then, you know, I can get some, well, actually dedicate some time to do some 1v1s with some of these hotshot players. Now, in the event that someone wants to say, hey Brigade, I mean, let's kind of do some 1v1s. Let me kind of tell you my conditions for 1v1s. And actually I have a different set of conditions because I do multiple types of videos in 1v1 situations. Now, you have the Battle of the Build series, which focuses more so on showcasing builds than anything. Right? Because as I've explained before, I am so exhausted of all the katana builds and all the katana faith builds, right, that I try to create a situation where other type of builds are showcased, right. Some of the builds with some unique offensive and defensive strategies. So basically my criteria to meet up for a Battle of the Build series is no hornets, no pinwheels. If you're going to do a vitality gouge, well, actually you can't even really gouge when you're not using some of those, you know, ridiculous pinwheel masks. So basically my only criteria for a Battle of the Build series is no hornets ring, no pinwheels. Everything else is allowed, right? Including Tranquil Walk of Peace and everything else. Now, someone may say to yourself, hey dude, why in the world would you allow Tranquil Walk? Well, mainly because we're showcasing builds, right? And in order for everyone to see, you know, what the build has to offer, they has to see everything that's available. So that's with regard to the Battle of the Builds. Now, in a Rumble in the Jungle type of deal, my only criteria for that, which is pretty similar, no pinwheels, no hornets ring. Right? If you're going to use a buff, go ahead and say something, you know, so I kind of know if I need to create a buff or do I need to create an alternative. But for the most part, that's it. I mean, because, you know, someone may say, hey dude, what do you have against pinwheels? Hey dude, if we're meeting in a 1v1, these are my rules. Right? Now, you meet me in a burg or somewhere else, pinwheel it up, dude. Hornet ring it up. You know, as much as most of us do not like it. But when it comes to some of these showcase type of videos, you know, I kind of did one with good old Triple. Here's one with E-A-B-M. And I actually have another Battle of the Build series coming up real soon. All of these guys have done an awesome job at demonstrating that you can be effective without the pinwheels, without the hornet ring, right? And without being a try-hard, you know, playing as a try-hard type of deal. And I think all these guys really show their potential quite well. Right, so all of my Battle of the Build participants, both in the past, future, and in the present, you know, I'd like to show all you guys my appreciation because, you know, I don't think anyone would get creative without seeing for themselves that, you know what, I don't always have to use a katana, you know. Maybe I can kind of use something different. Or if I do use a katana, perhaps I can get creative with it. You know, one example, good old Godly has this little high-speed dual katana type thing. Now, I've never fought against a dual katana, but I've, you know, kind of seen it on the streams. You know, it kind of takes some creativity, and it takes for a person to get out of their comfort zone to be able to do a dual katana, right? Because you don't have the security of the shield. You kind of have to depend on your parrying and evasion skills. Alright, so we got an onion bro going on. Very rarely do we see anybody rocking the onion bro, which is good. And actually, I'm not saying it's good that you very rarely see it. I'm just saying it's a good thing that he's rocking it. Because I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, there's a guy that I've seen in a burg every now and then. He's rocking the whole onion bro, but that guy's using that Darkwood grain ring, whereas he's doing a good job of using the fast roll. Right. All right. So he's got the high-speed man serpent, which you definitely have to be careful for, because that thing is pretty strong. And as a matter of fact, I think it's stronger than a claymore, if I'm not mistaken. Now, granted, it doesn't have the reach advantage of the claymore, but I think it's stronger. Right? And another good thing about the man serpent greatsword is that you don't have to invest a lot of points into two fields. In other words, man serpent greatsword, you only have to invest points into the strength, whereas the claymore, the bastard, and some of these others, you have to invest points in both strength and dexterity. So that's a good thing with regard to the man serpent. And he's got a pretty good combination. If you notice, I got real lucky right there, because not only did he hit me off with a parry, but he's using the S-stock, which, even though it doesn't show a critical damage increase, I think a lot of the rapier weapons do have some type of hidden critical increase, because that S-stock can also hit you for a lot of points, just as with the regular rapier. And he got it again. You guys notice that? It's a pretty good parry. Alright, so we're back at it. See, can I try to recover from that? That one hurt pretty badly. Alright, grass it up. Man, I see that thing charging. I just have to back up. Now, here's another good thing about using elemental weapons. I think it's a really good way to basically be a warrior build. Warrior meaning a person who's able to use a myriad of weapons. Right? And the reason why I say that is, with regard to his high endurance build, he only needs the minimum stats, but can use a +5 elemental for those weapons. Because if you guys notice, he's using a S-stock in one situation and a man serpent in another, which those are two opposing builds, or weapon types rather, right? Because the S-stock is obviously a dexterity build, whereas, okay, nice BS there, can never get enough of those. Alright. Alright, and then he's trying to hit me with another BS with the high-speed roll attempt. And, you know what, speaking of BS, I really think that I need to get off of it. Because, see, one thing about me, I have really seen my game change. Right? Because I went from doing a lot of BSs myself, because I wasn't really, and I've actually talked about this before, this is not a new thing. When I first started into the PvP, I wasn't really comfortable with varying attack strategies, you know, both offensive and defensive attack strategies. I wasn't really comfortable with them, but I was good with the backstabs, right? So because I lacked a degree of skills in offensive and defensive strategies, I compensated by using a lot of backstabs. But as time has went on, I have learned to experiment with different strategies, experiment with different attack and defensive styles, and I've gotten to the point to where I simply do not, and that was a pretty good parry right there. That was a hot shot job there, consumer. I've really gotten to the point to where I really try to keep BSs at a minimum. Right? Now, that also depends on what mood I'm in, right? If I'm kind of in a situation where I'm playing someone who's doing a lot of backstabs, I would probably punish them. If I'm playing someone like Short Dude, who, I mean, he just always hitting the spam on the parries, and I kind of do that to him too, because, I mean, that guy, sometimes, you know, if you're kind of familiar with playing with him, you're almost afraid to swing, because that guy is always hitting that parry button on you. Alright, because I mean, case in point, if you guys were to watch this series and some of the others from the beginning and just go ahead and count not only the matches that are involved in the particular video, but also count the number of backstabs that I execute, you'll notice that it's actually not a lot, especially relative to the number of matches. Right? I mean, I think some people kind of take you know, the one battle at a time approach. Meaning, well, I mean, you know, we're in one battle, and as long as I don't do it a lot in that particular battle, hitting off with a backstab is good, which is cool, right? I don't have an opinion either way. Well, actually, I don't like the Fishers, but other than that, it is what it is. Me, on the other hand, I am trying to get good at whatever build that I'm using. Case in point, this is a spear build that also uses the bow action. So in order to get good at using this build, I am trying to avoid BSs so I can really maximize what this build was intended for. Right? So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I kind of get into this thing where I'm playing against guys and I'm saying to myself, you know what, am I really handicapping myself because I am not using, you know, or engaging in more backstabs as other people are doing? Because basically all that I'll do is frustrate myself, right? Because I'll be in a situation and I'll just go from 0 to 100 as far as rage is concerned. But, you know, as with all things, I just need to get over it, right? Because it is what it is. You can't control how people play. And actually, to the extent that you are trying to influence people to play different, you only will get yourself frustrated, right? Because a lot of people play to win, which is, you know, nothing wrong with that. You know, I play to win sometimes. I mean, I don't think anyone plays to lose, right? So, yeah. So, let's see what we got going on. High-speed claymore action that hurt. See, really have to be careful, especially because he's got that heater shield, and I think he's starting to get my timing right. Because if you notice, whereas in the beginning he used to kind of run up to me and swing, now he's kind of running up to me, pausing, wait until I parry, and then he's swinging, which is a good thing. You know, because I think the more you play somebody, the more, in a lot of cases, you start to learn their patterns. And Lord knows I don't need them to learn my patterns. Right? Because once you learn patterns, you find weaknesses. Right. Let's go, Onion Bro. I have really found a love for these parrying shields. Well, actually, I can't say parrying shields, because you can parry with most small and medium shields. The buckler and target shield in particular. Alright, we're kind of dancing there, but I give him a nice boot to the chest. It's hard trying to parry that thrusting attack. Alright, so this is the last match of this two-part series. Once again, good old shout out to E-A-B-M for putting forth an awesome performance. He did a good job, not only in his playing style, but also demonstrating to all of us that, you know, a heavy build can use the fast roll. Right? They do not have to be dependent upon the Darkwood Grain Ring. Because we all like fast mobility in this game. Because, I don't know, even though the medium and, you know, perhaps Fat Boy roll can be pretty good in PvP, a lot of us understand that, you know, the fast roll is definitely a good thing. Here I am using the painted guarding sword. You don't really see that used a lot. And I have to be careful because he almost parried that attack. Ouch, that hurt. Alright guys, Martyrs Brigade is